As I said, you're not really a small open economy. You are a peripheral part of a small free trade, a mid-sized free trade zone called the United Kingdom. So on the one hand, I fully understand the desire to be separate, but, the idea that this isn't going to hurt, you can't really say that Brexit's the worst thing ever and then commit the biggest Brexit of all time, which is literally what this is. So if you're going to think about this being independent, you have to think very sensibly about what that means and how you're going to develop income generating assets to pay for stuff. Why? Because at the end of the day, as a small open economy, which you then will be, you need to balance your imports and your exports over the long term, or everyone thinks your currency is shite. And at that point, they dump it, prefer payments in British pounds, and then you get a run on your foreign exchange, and you get a mini Argentina on your hands. So just because you're independent and you can print bits of money doesn't mean anything if you don't have things to back it up. Think about one of your most famous sectors is whiskey. Question for you. Who owns it? It is a French luxury group and about 5 American investors.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, you kind of have to have a growth model that is able to generate these incomes and has these assets. And then we can talk about what that would be like in a future scenario. When you don't even really know what that is and how it's going to work, then that's a flight into fantasy. And I'm just too old to do fantasy economics.
Do sovereign governments have a greater policy space than they admit to or are aware of?
It depends on the government. I mean, Argentina has a sovereign space and a sovereign currency. It's not doing it any good whatsoever because it's got a chronic problem. Does Britain have more capacity? Absolutely. Labour knows this damn well, but they're not going to say it because they'll be murdered by the Tory press. If the very fact, look, here, I'm the Fox Mulder of MMT. I want to believe, right? But there's a thing called the current account constraint. And at the end of the day, if you're a small open economy, you need to have things you can sell to everybody else to get the stuff that you don't make. And Scotland doesn't make very much. Cars, phones, drugs, MRI scanners, all that shit's going to have to be bought with other stuff that you sell. So the notion that it's all right, we'll just basically default. You said it's legal, but I'm pretty sure the investor community would be rather pissed, right? And then we'll just print some money. What could possibly be go wrong with that? Well, why would I want to hold your money? You got zero credibility. I insist on payment in dollars or I insist on payment in pounds because you're a bunch of clowns. So how's that going to work? MMT applies, if it applies anywhere, to the United States because it's the global savings asset. Nobody else gets to do this. Literally nobody. The only one that comes close is China because you can't actually trade their currency because there's 3 levels of capital controls. So unless you're willing to do massive import substitution, consumption suppression, and capital controls, you're not going to be able to get a small economy to behave like a very big economy that issues a credit asset. I just don't buy it. Okay, and I've been through it dozens of times.
Okay, so again, I'm going to disagree with that.
Scotland, particularly nationalist circles, loves to say that Scotland is a small open economy like the Nordic economies. That's a bit like saying I'm a supermodel because I also have legs. It's simply not true when you really think about it. And here's why. You're a periphery part of a small free trade zone called the United Kingdom. You have thousands of micro enterprises that trade with each other and trade with the United Kingdom. You have hardly any international trade in comparison to actually genuine small economies. You have no global champions at scale in the way that they do in Scandinavia and other places. It's a very different place. Forget the electoral cycles. This year, the SNP will... No, stop. No. You have to have a credible thing that's going to make people like me go, this is a project worth investing in. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, Mark, how I wish we had time to discuss, because there's a lot of that I disagree with, but we are here to hear your opinion on all of these other things. So that's another...
What was wrong? What was wrong?
No, we can't. I would love to go into that, and I'm sure the audience. And next year when you come, then we'll maybe be able to do that. But that was fascinating for your insight. Thank you so much.